We're often asked, why Colorado? Why the CNS? And specifically, why this part of the line? We were drawn to Colorado because of the modelgenic opportunities offered by the majestic Rockies and the unhurried pace, yet purposeful pace, of the slim gauge lines that ran through them. We chose to model the CNS because we were taken by the enchanting appearance of those little CNS engines with their Ridgway cinder diverters, often called bear trap spark arresters, the twin air tanks perched atop the boilers, and frankly because it seemed that most other narrow gaugers were modeling the Rio Grande, and frankly we wanted to do something different. Why the Ohio Creek extension? Well, in the late 19th century, one of the predecessors of the CNS, the Denver, South Park and Pacific, pushed their rails northwest out of Gunnison and completed work all the way to Baldwin. They started grading beyond Baldwin but came to a sudden stop in Ohio Pass at a place called the Grand Palisades. Well, Mary and I decided to complete their vision and complete the work on the Ohio Creek extension. That's called Modeler's License, or a gateway to creativity. The design process took several years, with visits to the Ohio Creek area, discussions with former CNS employees, and several rail historians. This helped put everything in perspective and helped establish the setting. Although the layout is set in 1942, the real CNS had ceased operation by then, with the exception of the Leadville branch, which would be standard gauge the very next year. Once again, using Modeler's License, we surmised that the railroad had survived until America was engulfed in the cauldron of World War II, giving the CNS a new lease on life. Actually, the Rio Grande operated the Ohio Creek extension from 1910 to 1955 and called it their Baldwin branch. In acknowledgement of that fact, we arranged for a trackage rights agreement with the Grand from Floresta to Gunnison, avoiding their roundabout route via Crested Butte. It also gave us the opportunity to run some Rio Grande equipment. The layouts have evolved since we started in 1986, and they continue to do so. If we can find a reason to change anything from operational concept, track design, or communications, we're open to change. For instance, we originally ran under DC block control with PFM sound. A DCC system has since been installed, and all engines are equipped with Soundtrack Tsunami sound decoders. The change took over a week or so with the help of our friend Bob Johnson. Operation was sort of a Mother May I method, using a modified track warrant system. Now, thanks to longtime friend Steve King, we operate under timetable train order rules. We used to communicate using FRS radios, a rather anachronistic approach for a railroad set in 1942. And thanks to friend and crew member John King, no relation to Steve, we now have an era-appropriate phone system using a Western Electric gate-arm telephone for the dispatcher, candlestick phone for the operator, and space-saver phones for the yards and at Baldwin. One of the upgrades we wanted to make was to include industrial and environmental sound to the railroad. This led to a business, Miller Models, and we've gone on to produce dozens of digital sound modules. You'll hear many of them as we tour the layout. And those are just a few of the changes we've made over the years. It's an ever-evolving process, and that, of course, is part of the fun.